Hey, super excited for this episode of Talking Church. Want to let you know we had some audio distortion in just a few moments, probably less than 30 seconds total, but throughout the podcast we switched from the audio from the microphones to the audio from the camera. Wanted you to know that it's not your phone, it's not your headphones, it's not your car's fault. It is not you, it's us. So let's dive into this episode. I know you're going to enjoy it. Well, we are back for another episode of Talking Church. Excited to do this again.
Yeah.
And we've had a busy summer already. A lot has happened. We had conference happen. The last couple episodes we released were from Pastor Chris Hodges and Dr. Barnabas, and were great episodes. But we're back. We're in full swing. At the time of recording, we're doing something called Seek Week. I just got back from a near 2-week vacation.
Italy.
Several of I was in Italy and Switzerland. It was amazing. Several of our staff is either on sabbatical or was on sabbatical. We'll talk about that in a little bit too.
Yeah.
But you talked about a message at conference in June, and you shared about
how fast can you go?
How fast can you go? You can go as fast as you can bring your inheritance with you. Do you want to just give, for those who maybe weren't there, just give a super quick summary of what that message was about?
Yeah, because people ask me all the time, how can you go so fast as a church? And we go fast. And everybody's talking about going slow, and John Mark Comer, as you know, what's his book? I haven't read it.
Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. It is a good book.
It is a good book, and the people that need
I would love to have him on the podcast. So John, if you're listening,
the people that need to read it don't, and the people that don't need to read it do.
Explain that.
Well, like the people that aren't going fast enough are like, see, this is why we shouldn't go fast. And the people that are going fast go, I don't like that book. I don't want to do that. I don't even want to read it. La 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 la. That's me. I probably should read the book. And David Meyer just sent me a text the other day. He's like, you need to read this book. It's amazing. And I thought, no, somebody I trust and love told me to read the book, you know? So.
Well, John Mark, he does run fast as well. He does a lot. He writes a lot. He speaks a lot. He does a lot of things. But I think, the importance of that day of rest. But anyways, we'll get you to read it some point.
I should write a book called Just Don't Do the Things That Don't Matter. That's it.
Great.
Don't do the things that don't matter. And then your life will declutter and you can run faster.
You just do so much that you don't have time to do the things that don't matter.
I wish I didn't have to sleep. Did you know I tried to eliminate sleep?
Yes, I remember that.
I did. I actually tried to get down to where I eliminated sleep, and I was getting my sleep shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. I was down to 4 hours, and I was starting to try to get to 3.5 hours a night. And I went to my doctor, and he's like, stop, you're killing yourself. And I was like, no, I'm actually getting a ton done. And he's like, no, your body actually repairs during the night, and you're not repairing. And so you have to, and I was like, and then I actually accepted sleep because it was like achievement oriented. I know that sounds dumb, but for me, sleep became achievement. Like, okay, I'm going to get 7 hours of repair going on. But
that's how I see it.
A lot of people just see it as like a reward. And I was like, it's repair. So anyways, but...
Elon Musk talks about that, how he's like, I tried to get less sleep, similar thing, but there was a certain threshold where his mind wasn't working right. And so I think there's very few people high achievers that can work on such a low amount of sleep, but it's not sustainable for most. And they're also using other things, IV hydration, and there's lots
don't get me started on that.
There's lots of different hacks that people use, and maybe we'll get into that. But back to the message of you can go as fast as you bring.
I get distracted. Do I ever get distracted? Yeah, all
no,
the time.
Never.
A bazillion times. That's why I have to keep notes all the time. I have 2 things. I'll tell everybody this. 2 things when I'm trying to, when I'm getting distracted and I want more in my head than I can say out of my mouth. And I'll type it into my phone and write a note to not forget it. And then
you used to have note cards.
Yeah,
in your
note
pocket.
cards, but now it's just the phone right in there. And then the other thing is I use sign language because I know just enough sign language. And then I'll think like, I want to tell them about hydration. And so I'll do an H on my hand. I'll actually make the letter and I'll put it on my leg while I'm talking. And I'll keep talking about the point that I'm making, and then all of a sudden I'll look down, H, oh yeah, hydration. And it triggers back the thing I don't remember. And it allows me to keep talking, holding that thought here so I won't forget it, and do that. So, and I keep forgetting even now, but it's
So
go
the
as fast as
message-
your inheritance. The whole thing was, how fast can you go? And this came to me, you can go as fast as you can take your inheritance with you. And I talked about Moses leading the children of Israel out of Egypt into the promised land. They could only go as fast as the women, the children, and the livestock. And they didn't want to leave it behind. And even Pharaoh was like, let your men go and worship. And he's like, no, let your kids and your family go, but leave your animals here. No, we're bringing our full inheritance with us, and we're even taking some of your inheritance with us. But you have to go at a speed that allows you to bring your inheritance. Go at a speed in life that allows you, like your inheritance is your family. I mean, it's not the money. At your funeral, my funeral, you're not going to be there going, I wonder how much Dad left me. I mean, that'll come like a day or two later. So, but I mean, you're going to be there saying, I love this man. He poured into me. He raised me. He loved me. This is our family. And your inheritance is like who's showing up at your funeral and who's going to carry on the legacy of what you believed and lived for. Bring that with you. I can't, like, I'm always shocked when people, like, their kids hate them. Their family, they hate their family. And they're super rich. But I'm like, you don't realize you have no inheritance. I'll never forget. This is totally, again, chasing a rabbit. But a guy once told me, he goes, you're the richest person I know. And this guy had, like, a Bentley, and he had, like, waterfalls, like, shot over his car when he drove down his driveway. Like the Bellagio fountain thing shot over his driveway. And he had like a indoor water slide in his house. And he said to me, you're the richest man I know. And I said, why? And he goes, your kids love you. They adore you. You tuck your kids in every night. He goes, I tuck my kids in on Thursdays and every other weekend. He goes, you're the richest man I know. I was like, wow, that's your inheritance. So that was the whole thing. Go as fast as you can go to bring your inheritance with you, what really matters in life.
Yeah, and those who want to listen to the full message, it's on the network site, so they can watch it there. You're in that vein, you run as fast as maybe anyone in the world. I mean, maybe there's a few of your friends that you'd say compete with you.
I see some of these people like Wahlberg. I saw his schedule.
Yeah.
Like he's up at 3 a.m. and then he like
works out twice before 6, I think.
Yeah, I think he does. And then it's like, like that's another level.
Yeah, but in our circles, you're known to be someone who runs really, really fast, who does a lot. You travel. I mean, you'll go to, typically in a year, you're going to many different countries, dozens of states, playing golf on the way. Walk.
The year that COVID hit, I was supposed to go to 14 countries that year.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's not normal.
No. Yeah.
Which is amazing. But I like, why do you feel like, I mean, part of it is you enjoy it.
I do.
But
I really do. And my mind doesn't shut off. And I'm always up for the adventure. And I'm wanting to drink every bit of it. And I'm like, what else is out there? I enjoy it. And it is how I'm wired. I realize that because even Becca, my wife, she is like, I'm not wired like you. And, I should have known, like when we first got married, she got up really early and opened up the bank at like 5:30 in the morning. So she had to go to bed early. And I was like, is it okay if I go out with a bunch of my friends? We're going to go, play night golf. We're going to go do this. And she's like, sure, go ahead, But I enjoy it. And I don't get tired very often. And I get recharged really quick. 10-minute nap. And all of a sudden, I am wide awake again. So
for a lot of people listening, there's maybe some that would say, I'm just like you, that's awesome. I would say that's not the majority. I'd say most people are not that way. Most people do get tired. Most people aren't go all the time. How have you learned to work with people who don't have quite as much energy as you? So maybe for people that are that way, that are frustrated by other people's, why are they getting tired? Or the other side, people that would say, I don't like working with people who seem to never get tired.
Right.
How have you learned to work with different people?
I don't get mad at people. Like, I know this sounds like mean, but I don't get mad, but I leave them behind. It's like, I'm just going to go do that. So I'm not mad at you. I'm just going to go do that. And so, I don't get mad, but I stay on the journey. And by the way, there's other people that are like, I heard about Rick Warren. Like he's like, I've never hung out with him, but I heard he's just like this and goes so fast. So I don't get mad, but all right, you're not on this adventure. We'll go do it. I've also learned to just realize that everybody's not the same. and it's okay. I just want people to give a fair return, a good return. Like I can't stand people that are looking for how little I can do. I want them to say, how much can I do and how smart can I work? And I don't get mad at people that delegate. And if you use your brain, like I'll never forget when Connor got his first job, our oldest son Connor, and he went and he was at Little Caesars Pizza. And he goes, Dad, first day of work, he comes up, he goes, Dad, I figured it out. There's people that use their body to make money, and there's people that use their mind to make money. I'm going to use my mind to make money. I was like, what made you say that? He goes, I don't want to carry buckets of pizza sauce anymore. I was like, he just was like, I'm figuring this out. I'm going to, so I don't mind if people, and by the way, there are people that use their body to work that are strong and construct. I'm in awe of people with construction and all.
It's interesting.
Amazing.
In that area, there's actually been studies recently that show people who work with their body have much, much stronger mental health. And so,
I wouldn't doubt
their
it.
bodies physically, they're generally healthier. Some have injuries, but their mental health is so much stronger because they're seeing the fruits of their labor. They're working with their hands.
That's why
they can turn work off when they get home.
Oh yeah, remember I used to like to paint when I was 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I used to love to paint because I could see a finished room and I'd be like, aha, the room is done. Whereas in ministry, it's never done.
Yeah.
And so there was some therapy in being able to complete something. But anyway, I don't even know where I'm going on this. I'm like ADD.
I just think it's helpful. I think it's helpful to get inside your head a little bit. And for me, I've seen it and observed it my entire life. But for a lot of people, it's like, is it true? How fast do you go? What are the things you say yes to? How, when you get a busy schedule, I think if you asked and you surveyed pastors across the country, I don't know that anyone would respond and say, "Oh, I'm not busy." I think they would all say they're busy or full, whatever word they use. Mm-hmm. They're working hard. I was talking to a pastor the other day. He's like, I'm doing this. I have to do this for the church. Maybe they don't have a staff, so they're doing multiple different things. How have you learned to say yes and no to things, even good things, that it's like, oh, could you do, you used to do weddings all the time. Now you don't really do weddings. You used to, obviously there's delegation.
I made all the mistakes that one summer I did 10 weddings and you guys were like, I hate weddings. And now think about it. I did 6 counseling sessions with each couple and the rehearsal and the wedding. And you guys were like, we hate weddings. And I was like, we got to figure this out. And that necessitated then, I was like, hey, let's have marriage mentors. They can do all the pre-marriage counseling. I'll just do the one session for that. And then I won't make the kids go to all the weddings. Mom can stay home with the kids and I'll officiate the wedding. It's not like our family's the key to the wedding. Like, they just need somebody to officiate. And then I was like, hey, are you closer to another pastor on staff? I know I'm the lead pastor, but has some pastor poured into your life that there's more meaning in this service rather than me? And so we just started delegating it out.
I think it's been cool to see even congregation members who are just lay leaders, but they get credentialed because they just want to get that next step. And now they're officiating weddings for friends. And it's like, because they're a pastor, but they're a lay leader. And it's just like, we show up to weddings at church and we're like, who's doing the wedding? Like, we never know. It's always fun.
Yeah. So that was part of it. And then, so I did all the problems and then it created new solutions. And then I learned to get super organized. I was thinking about this. I am super organized. I color code my entire year. And so people think like, does it happen? Like, am I just like, let's go do this today? No, I'm not like that. I've got it planned out. Like I already know where I'm going to be in December and I've already booked airline tickets for things in December and it's July. And but they were booked 3 months ago. I'm planning the year out. I'm trying to be intentional.
We're well into 2023 already. We're probably about 12 months out. So we're planning summer and fall of 2023 right now for your schedule. So
yeah, and then I'm doing things like I used to tell people in ministry, do a +1. What does that mean? Like get people to church because they're already there, and then +1 have your leaders meeting right after church, so they add one more thing to something they're already doing rather than taking a Tuesday night to do it. Do it Sunday right after church, or do a leaders meeting before church with breakfast. I was just trying to do that. So I'm looking at my travel. We're going to somewhere out east, and we're trying to add on a golf thing. Like I'm like, hey, I have a bucket list. I want to play this golf course.
Yeah, we have 2 generosity accelerators back to back, and then we're going to try to tag a golf course on. And yeah, we do that all the time. And you, even growing up, after Saturday service, we'd always go out with someone,
Always.
a couple in the church.
Plus
and,
one.
And
I'm gonna
Sunday,
meet with a new family.
we'd always go out with someone. So, I mean, I remember for us, we grew up in the booths of Ruby Tuesday and, different restaurants of just hanging out. And you brought us with.
Pizza and whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm getting organized and doing that. And then I'm trying to learn the cheats, and I try to stay healthy with the things I can control. Like today, I got up and did 3 miles real quick just before I came into church, and like, let's go and get that done with Mom. I'm like, come on, let's go. And trying to eat healthier. And you said that hydration thing. I tried that for the first time. Hydration, vitamins, IV, and I feel great 3 days later. So we'll see. I still haven't. I don't have a commercial.
We won't endorse it.
I don't have an
we have heard from people not that we won't name, but people that we know and friends of ours that have said, "Oh, we've been doing that for years, and that's super helpful." So finding different ways to be healthy, and rather than come home like being jet lagged and then you eat bad food and you don't take care of yourself. I mean, I say this knowing that it's probably a controversial statement, but there's a lot of pastors who are very unhealthy. And I know, that.
Yes,
I
was one of them.
No, I know you have a book. Your new book is coming out soon.
And then keep the change. I mean, I was carrying a lot more weight, and I was way more tired.
Like you were carrying a lot more physical weight.
Weight, like large, ginormous gut. Like wore an extra large shirt because my gut was so big I had to keep it loose, And so I was just thinking about, again, my mind went, large, ginormous gut. I had to keep a loose shirt, and then it made me think about how ladies that are pregnant now like have really tight clothes to show like I'm pregnant, And when Mom was pregnant, they were really loose, and I thought, and then I went to like a fat guy wearing a really tight shirt, like I'm fat, Anyways, that was where
Chris Farley or something.
Yeah. Anyways, but that weight made me so tired.
Yeah,
and now I have way more energy. And I think people need to just start small, do something to get the energy. And then also, let's pivot. I want to, because there's so many things on weight and health and all that. I want to talk about something that we implemented in our church with sabbatical.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not opposed to rest. I'm not opposed to, again, bring your inheritance. The sabbatical, after 7 years of being on staff at River Valley Church, our pastors, not everyone, but our pastors, get a sabbatical for 1 month. And we could do a whole teaching on that. I've had churches say, will you come in and speak to our board and help them? Because everybody works hard. The guy that's laying bricks works hard. The lady that is a nurse, the lady that is a psychiatrist, everybody's working hard, okay? But there are certain jobs that require you to take on the weight of others. And the weight of others causes you to live under a pressure that's different than the pressure of just doing your job, which it still has a pressure. And so because there's that people pressure, and I'll share this, like we had a staff member whose wife died yesterday, and we're there in that grief. Mom and I were over there, and we're praying with them, and we're in that grief. When Pastor Anthony passed away, I was in that grief. You're constantly in the grief. You're constantly, and don't think about it's just that. Like a friend of ours, Ben, was in a motorcycle accident and lost his arm, and we're at the hospital doing that. And as I walk in, this young lady goes to our church. She starts weeping when she sees me. Pastor Rob, it's a sign of hope just to see you in the hospital. And there's this weight that's on you, and you live in that in ministry. And so to get a sabbatical, and it's what we signed up for. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's a weight that's there, and it does good for your life that when you get a month of like, I'm out of the weight, nobody's calling me, I literally get to just 100% focus on my family, on them. And you could speak to it. Why don't you speak? I'll interview you.
Okay.
What did you think about the sabbatical growing up? I'm trying to think of how many I had and what ages you were. But the first one I remember, we went to northern Minnesota. Mm-hmm. The second one we did a theme park one, didn't we? And we went to like Six Flags and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But talk to me about what do you think about having your dad for a month on sabbatical?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like ministry was so a part of our life. And so I think it was actually odd. Like the only times I've ever missed church in my life has been when I'm on vacation or gone. Like I've never missed church. Actually, one time I was at North Central and I slept in and missed my alarm. Literally that, like I remember that day.
Do you remember when we went to Disney World? We went to Disney World and we went on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And Connor, we prayed at breakfast. We're like at McDonald's getting ready to go to Disney World or whatever. And he goes, Jesus, forgive us today. It's the first time we've missed church. I was like, Jesus is okay with this week. We're going to. It was like no, so that, he literally was so like. So that
honestly, as a PK, that was I think the weirdest thing was like that we're we would go to some churches like other churches, but I think that was the weirdest thing. But I think it just showed that it was valuable. I remember. I don't remember as much of the ones when we were young. I do remember that we spent a lot of time together, but I think we did so many amazing things along the way that it just kind of mixes together. But I do remember them more of recently and how it's been like you did that for 25 years. It was 3 months, I think.
20 years.
20 years, 3 months. And so
I got a 3. So at our church, just so people are wondering, at 7 years, pastors get a sabbatical, and then every 5 years after that.
Yeah, so 12, 17.
Then, so 12, and then 5 more. And then on my 20th, and I don't know how the math figured out, whatever, but on my 20th, the board gave me a 3-month sabbatical after 20 years and said, no preaching, no teaching, no nothing, 3 months, get away, recharge. And it was amazing.
How did we choose the timing? Because I know a lot of pastors that actually take a month off every year, and like a lot.
Yeah,
and that's not you've never.
I
done
don't.
that.
No.
But maybe it's later on. But I think we were in. I won't say where we were, but we were somewhere, and they said, "Hey, it was one of the presbyters," and he said one of our people has asked for a 7-month sabbatical, and we said, "Wow, how long have they been there?" And he said 9 months.
I said, "I don't think the person was cut out for ministry.
Maybe ministry's not for them." But how did we choose that 7 and 5? Was there
I don't even
God's
know.
Number 7?
I didn't know. I don't even know. I just thought, 7's, because I ask everybody that comes to work at River Valley, give us 4 years of faithful service and we'll bless you wherever you want to go after that. Because I just thought colleges do 4 years and I could build with enough stability on somebody for 4 years. And it also took the pressure off, like you're here forever, or guess what? You have to sneak out of here to get out of here. No, you're not. You don't belong to River Valley Church. If you're a pastor, you belong to Jesus and he called you into the ministry and we don't own you. You're here for whatever season it is. And I thought 4 seemed faithful. Like 2 years was too short to really put down roots. 4 was faithful. And then I was like, I recognize not everybody's going to stay. So 4 was, and then I guess 7 was like, if you stay for 7, we want to reward you. And some people after their sabbatical make a life change and think, all right, there's a new calling on my life. And others come back and go, I'm more charged up for where I'm going. I can't wait. So I think it was just a longevity thing. Like 7 was a good amount of time.
Yeah, and then every 5 years after that for just...
Yeah, and that was just longevity and rewarding people. And the longer people are with us, the more I want to reward them. I realize that people are our greatest asset, and I don't want to replace people. I really don't. And so I don't want people to leave because they're like, our wages are too low. I don't want them to leave because our benefits are too low. I don't want them to leave because they don't feel cared for, and I don't want them to leave because they don't feel like there's advancement and growth and fulfillment. And so I'm trying to answer all those things. And I want to say to people that have been here a long time, like, we value your experience. There's value in that.
Yeah, and you've told our whole team that if you don't use the vacation that you've been given,
you're stealing from God.
You're stealing from God. Talk about that.
Well, because I'm paying for a fresh you. I'm paying for you that I gave you an amount of vacation that I thought was right for your experience and which would keep you fresh and sharp based on the weight that you carry and the experience that you bring. And if you get 4 weeks of vacation and you use a week and a half, you actually stole from the church because I paid you for those 4 weeks to be fresh and to recharge. And there's something about record. Like, do you not feel better right now? Come on, after coming back, other than jet lag.
No, I feel
coming
great.
Back from Italy, you feel great. I picked you up at the airport and you were like, I could just see the calm and the rest. And I can see you and your wife, you and Mac were just like, there was a joy, there was like a shared experience, and I could feel it on you.
Yeah.
And when you were getting ready to go on the vacation, I could also feel a stress and an angst and and I was like, man, they need this vacation, get out there.
Well, I'm glad we took it. But yeah, we feel that. And I think that for a lot of people, that freedom that you give them to say, no, we want you. And vacation is very celebrated around here. We try and protect it. There's emergencies that happen, in ministry, people die, and, there's emergencies. But I would say as a team, we've really started to respect that time and vacation for people. And I think as a pastor, maybe you're the only staff member at your church and you feel like you can't get away. I actually think that your congregation, your deacons, if it's bringing in somebody else from another church to help, someone from our team.
Yep.
We want to resource
I'm going to say
people.
something on that right there. Because we talk about the ups real quick. Have we done a pod?
Yeah, we did one, but we did a teaching, but staff development.
Real quick on tell
First up is people in their first year of ministry. Yep. We do a once a month. Then next up is emerging leaders. They do a class usually once a month, but they meet up together. Lead up is for department heads and higher to just be coached and trained. We bring in high level leaders to help coach and train them. And then coach up is for people who maybe have an area of deficiency or a growth area that they need to improve on, and it's kind of a modern take on a performance improvement. But
I would say this: like if you're a pastor and you're in our network and you are looking for a week off, we want to send somebody from our lead up to you. Logan will come and preach at your church. No, really. No, Connor will come preach. Logan will come preach. We'll send people to you because I want them to develop, and I'm not threatened by them going out. And guess what? They're a long way from your house or your church, and you can have them come there. I mean, seriously, that's a for real offer. It's not just like kind of, sort of, right there. And you could have them come, and if they do a great job, you say, that's the network we're part of. And if they do a bad job, you can say, aren't you glad they're not your pastor? So there you go. It works either way.
Yeah. Well, no, I would love to do that. And really, that's our heart and our goal. And Connor and I have talked about that. And I know many others on our team. We would love to be a resource. And I think people wonder if that's, if we're too busy for that. I always say that we're not too busy for you. Maybe a lot of people ask you to speak, and the calendar, as we talked about, is
I'm not coming to give you a week off, but they will. Yeah, they will. But hey, I always say this too. Like I know we've talked for a while on this, but find the rhythm too of your area. Find the rhythm, and right now, like 4th of July, we're past it, and I realized like that's now a time when almost everybody's taking it off. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like find the rhythm, let everybody have the downtime, and now we're into Seek Week, and then it's like there's a rhythm, there's a back and forth. Find the rhythms, and don't you think celebrate them?
Don't you think though too that ministry with celebration, you can carry that much further. So I look at Seek Week, for example, and maybe we'll talk about this again in the future, but we're in the middle of it at this recording. By the time this comes out, maybe it's going to come out in a week or two from now. But we're doing something every night. Sunday, Monday night, Tuesday night,
yeah, we're
Wednesday
going to get
night.
Smarter for next year, because I know that some people scheduled like early morning meetings during Seek Week, and they're like, oh.
No, but for the congregation, we've had people, last night alone, I think we had 50 people get baptized at Apple Valley, at Shakopee.
And probably another 30 people at Shakopee. Yeah. Because we've been doing it at 2 locations. No, it was just a desire to have an intentional week of seeking God and going after God. And night 1 was on the power of the Holy Spirit and be baptized in the Spirit. Night 2 was we believe in healing. We prayed for the sick. The aisles were jammed. We prayed for like 45 minutes with dozens of prayer teams were people. I talked to a guy last night. He had his shoulder miraculously healed, and he said, I need my shoulder for my work, and I want to buy the business that I'm in, and with this bad shoulder, I couldn't do it. And he goes, God miraculously healed me. Somebody shared, and this is crazy, somebody texted in and said, there's somebody there tonight that has a shoulder that God wants to heal. Somebody texted it, and then Dave Olson, one of the pastors, got up and said, somebody here, God wants to heal your shoulder. You need your shoulder, and God said he wants to heal your shoulder. This guy got his shoulder healed and talked to me the next night and said, that was me. Another one, somebody said, there's somebody here with a liver issue. It's a lady between 40 and 60 years old, and you have a liver issue, and there was somebody that drove an hour to be in our service that has a failing liver. Wow. So God was doing amazing, miraculous things, and we just keep hearing all the praise reports.
Yeah, last night I was talking to someone who he said, I got convicted at the healing service that I needed. He said I was, doing drugs, and I went home and I took all my drug paraphernalia and I threw in the dumpster. And he said, I'm free. I'm done with it. And it's just crazy, like, to see those stories that we're hearing from that.
And so, and then last night was the youth takeover, like the youth group did it, and it was generational night. And then tonight is evangelism. Like, let's get our hearts back.
And then we're serving. We're ending it with serving in our community. Serve Day Saturday. Friday night, we're doing our street teams.
Yep, Serve Day Saturday is like 1,500, 1,600 people, and then Friday night is street teams. It was limited to 200, and they're going to the people that are our neighbors that we drive past under the overpasses, in the tent cities, and in places that are needing hope. And so it's a great week. I'm loving it, and I already penciled in for next year.
Yeah, and I think that maybe the tension of, will people show up? Will people do?
Oh, first night I was worried. Yeah. I thought, it's a summer night and it's Minnesota and it's perfect, and it'd be a perfect night for a barbecue, and the place was packed.
Yeah.
Thrilled me.
Yeah, so that's amazing. Well, we talked about a lot. I mean, we've gone through all different things. We'll come back, as we always do, next month, and talk about this. But closing thoughts on just rhythms, life, rest. I mean, there's so many different things that you could talk about, and maybe we can touch more on it.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, I want to affirm everybody right now: run at your created speed.
Yeah.
And I taught this on Family Heavy, Family Light, and a tractor is not less of a valuable thing because it only goes 10 miles an hour. It was created to go 10 miles an hour and till the dirt. That's exactly what it was created for. It's running at its created speed. It doesn't need to feel guilty that it's a tractor. A Ferrari was made to go over 100 miles an hour. You see what I'm saying? It runs at its created speed. And so run at your created speed and don't feel guilty. Like a tugboat is incredibly valuable, but it doesn't go as fast as a speedboat. So run at your created speed and don't feel guilty about that. And when you do that, you're going to feel joy. And so my biggest thing, don't be condemned. Don't say, man, I wish I was like Rob. I'm going to try to sleep 6 hours. Don't do that. Say, what was my created speed, and run at your created speed. You will feel fulfilled, happy, and do what God wants you to do when you run at your created speed.
That's great. I love it. I think it's a great place to end on, and I'm excited for people to run at their speed. And we're going to continue to run fast and see people's lives change, and we know that everyone listening is doing the same. So
God bless the tractors and the Ferraris. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.